She is the co-founder for Youth for Umelam and had helped into organizing the first International Middleway Approach Conference in 2018. Today she has been selected as one of CTA's 5 under 35 Youth Idol for the United States. She is Tenzing Norton from Minnesota. Tashdiri Norton La, and congratulations. So Norton La, how do you feel about being the Youth Idol for CTA's 550 Vision?
Honestly, I didn't realize that this was an award. I thought that this was an opportunity for us young people who attended the second 550 forum to be able to give back in our own ways by facilitating and leading sessions for the next 550 event. But honestly, to have gotten this award, I feel humbled and I feel honored to have received it. But I also know on the other hand that there are many amazing young people out there as well. And I was just happened to be lucky. The right place at the right time.
So what brought you to the 550 Forum and how important do you think the vision is?
I've been very involved in the Tibetan community and I've gone to many retreats, many conferences in the past and whatnot. But I think this idea of a forum was really, really important because what a forum does is it brings people together. And specifically, this was a youth forum. So it brought youth from all over the world together to be able to have a platform to discuss what are the issues that are relevant and most important to Tibetan youth today. And that including all the voices that are out there because that's the best way you can gather the most information to be able to assess the needs of our current community. As you already know, me being in the community and having been so involved, I wanted to make sure that the voice of the Minnesota Tibetan community was also heard, and the things that I was seeing with my community and the youth specifically in my community, that was reflected in the recommendations that we come up with for the CTA and then for also other youth as well.
Like you mentioned, we also know that you have been actively engaged with the Tibetan community in your region, particularly with the co-founding of the Youth for Umelam. So tell us, how did the idea occur to you?
The idea didn't necessarily come to me and thinking, oh yeah, we should start this organization and I'll gather all the people. It was actually a friend of mine, Tindor, who came up to me and said, hey, I'm really interested in starting this organization. I think it's really, really important. Would you like to help and support me in this effort? So that's how the co-founding came about, because it was a close friend of mine who I've done, a lot of community work with in the past through Lamdu, which is a different organization that we started back in college. And because of that already rapport/relationship built, and because there were other like-minded people who wanted to come together and saw that there was a need for us to communicate and to create platforms for young people to engage in those kinds of dialogues and to, at least be curious about what is out there, about what the middle way approach is, and to be able to learn about it and then make your own decisions about what you believe in. Youth for Umelam was a way for us to connect to younger people as well and then give them a platform so that they would have the ability to learn as well.
So how is it being received by the people there?
I think that Youth for Umelam has done really well in the sense that we are a community-based organization that has been doing a lot of Umelam-related work in the community here. But the key thing with our community is that Youth for Umelam has a lot of young people and other organizations that have other political ideologies or other views also have a lot of young people, and we all get along and we're all friends with one another, and we all ultimately agree that what we're doing is for the Tibetan people.
So how did you gain interest in the Tibetan cause?
I like to think about the Tibetan cause as Tibetan people. And in that respect, I've always been connected with the Tibetan community because when I was younger, I actually didn't have that connection as much because I was born and raised in basically Chandigarh, India, and I didn't have a lot of Tibetans around me unless it was my family that I got to see every vacation or so. But when I came to the U.S. and specifically Minnesota, we had a robust community that was developing and thriving, and we had a lot of programming that we provided for our young people, and I participated in all of that. The first thing that we started as young people was by giving back was Lamdu, which was a way for us to connect back because we saw a need in the community. We were in college, a bunch of us, and we decided, hey, there's a lot of people who also are young who may not have had the resources that we did to come to, the position that we're in. How can we help their situation as well, because we didn't have that support either and we had to look for it. So how can we create those support structures for our community? And that was what really got me to actually participate in the Tibetan cause or Tibetan work within my community, because there was a need and I wanted to help. Ultimately, it's all about the people, and that's why I do the work that I do, and the different things that I'm involved with is all because of people.
So, Nodinla, you have been involved in a lot of activities related to the cause of Tibet, and also we see that you are in the process of pursuing your master's degree. And now that you are donned with the special responsibility as a youth ambassador for CTA's 550 Vision in the US, so what are your plans now?
I guess I don't really necessarily have a plan specifically, but one thing that I've always wanted to do is I want to make sure that all young people have a platform to develop themselves, and to be able to reach their potential to the best degree possible. And I think with this specific role, I think I'm going to continue that work and make sure that a lot of young people know that there is something called the 550 Forum. There is something called the 550 Vision, and that ultimately, no matter what you do, what you're doing, making sure that you connect back to the community, whether it's the local community, and for me specifically, it's Minnesota, or it's the larger community, Tibetan community in exile, which is in with CTA and in India as well. So ultimately, it's the human capital is what we as Tibetans have, and I think it's really, really imperative for us to make sure to continue developing that human capital, so that in the end of the day, we are able to do better for Tibet and for Tibetans, both inside and outside.
Thank you so much, Nodinla, for giving us your time, and all the best.
Thank you.